It wasn't about anyone else. It wasn't about what so-and-so was doing, what so-and-so wasn't doing. It was on my heart. And I remember hearing Paul, and even here in Texas when he was preaching, he had been preaching on how do you know if you're a Christian. And every time he preached that, I would squirm in my seat because it was like, oh, how do I just go through this test and feel okay at the end? Because every time it would just make me cringe. It's like, I'm not passing, and if I'm passing, I'm barely passing. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking, wait a minute, you either do pass these tests of 1 John or you don't. You don't barely make it like you're barely making a D. You know, you either pass because there is someone in your life that is, carried you through this. It's not this, it's not that. It's not that I don't love someone. It's just that, we just don't get along. It's not hate. It's this. Or it's not that I love the world. It's just that, everybody likes to shop. It was just crazy little things that I could always excuse. It wasn't ever a hard look at my sin. And I could feel that God was saying a lot of times, you need to get alone and think about this. You need to think about this. And I was like, oh no, I'm just, I don't know, PMSic. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just having a bad day. It's not that I'm not a Christian. I had to run from that. And all of a sudden it was like, I'm putting off something that could mean, eternity for myself. And I can't do that anymore. When we were in San Antonio, Paul had to preach there. And he had been preaching again on it. And just would totally squirm in my seat and think, I can't. I'm not a Christian. I finally had to admit it to myself. I'm not a Christian. I cannot struggle so much and just literally have no life, no desire to do this. I just make myself. Even in Peru when I was a missionary, I guess at the beginning stages of mission work and everything is pretty and everything is nice and you get along with people and everything goes good. But when those things start to wear out, then you really see if you're there because of God or if you're there because you're doing the right thing. And I came here and, oh man, I had such a struggle when I came here. I didn't want to be here. Didn't want to be in the States. I wanted to go back to Peru. And I thought, I'm just not ministering because of this and because of that and excuses. And eventually it was like God said, no, it's not about the place. It's not about someone. It's not about this. It's not about anything but you. It's about your heart. It's about the fact that there's nothing in your heart. And it was a very, very hard look when we were in San Antonio, like I was saying. We were sitting outside. There was a tent because the church is too small and it was hot. And there was a prostitute going up and down the road. And I remember looking at her thinking, I know better than her. Someone can take a look at her and see, oh my gosh, she's a prostitute. You know exactly what's wrong with her. You can see it. It's just in your face. And all these people sitting around me don't have a clue. And they have no idea. It's so easy to look pretty and churchy and to wear a long skirt and to not wear this kind of thing that will give you away. But the heart, God can see the heart. And I had done, I guess, all the gymnastics I could possibly do to even appear godly at that point. And it was wearing out. I could see all of a sudden, I am no better than that woman at this moment. And nobody can see that. And God could, and at least God opened my eyes at that point. I literally wanted to run out of there screaming. I was like, if I hear another sermon, I am just going to blow up and die or something. I know. It's like, I know I'm not a Christian. And it's not about what I do because no one can tell. It's not about anything else. In my heart, and you can see my heart. And it was just such an awesome thing. And it was a freeing thing because first I thought, okay, if I admit that I'm not a Christian, then, oh man, what a testimony. The preacher's wife has not been a Christian for 12 years or plus or whatever more, and that's pitiful. And here I was struggling with all that stuff, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, someone's going to get mad at me because I'm not really wanting to go to hell willingly. Okay. And it was really something. Another way that God showed me that I really wasn't a Christian, I was becoming so critical. Even in my own heart, I was becoming so hardened. And first, it's so wild. I used to think, well, it's because this, because of that. You have no idea, I guess, the ways in which your own heart will even deceive you. When you want to give yourself peace, you will try to tell yourself every possible thing you can. But when there's no peace, there's no peace. And if you belong to the Lord, there is peace. I mean, there can be struggles and there can be trials and there can be things, but there is peace at some point. And there's an end to things, and there wasn't one for me. When I told this to Paul, because I hadn't told him. I had been struggling with this for about 3 years. We were driving back from a little thing that we went to do with Ian, and Paul was sitting there, and he said, I don't know what's going to happen with our lives. I mean, I don't know why the Lord has us here in Texas or anything, but all I delight in is just being in God's will. And I literally wanted to jump out of the car. I was like, I cannot even hear His name without just feeling like I am in deep trouble here. I am not delighting in anything. I am in real trouble. And I told him, I said, okay, here it goes. I told him everything. I said, I really feel like I don't know God. And I told him everything. And he just listened, and he said, from what you've told me, I cannot tell you that you are a Christian. And that's the only thing I needed to hear. It's almost like if someone would have just told me that at some point, I guess if I had shared that with someone, just to hear that was enough. It's like, thank you. I needed to hear that. I needed to have someone else say, yes, on basis of what you're telling me, I can't tell you you're a Christian. Because, what you're saying is pretty, evident that that's what's in your heart. And we got home that night, and I just sat there and read the book of 1 John. And I started going through each verse. And I just saw one thing. It's so amazing, the book of 1 John, because it's not like, those crazy magazine quizzes that you take. Are you a friendly person? If you score from 1 to 10, well, you need to work on your personal people skills. If you score from 10 to 20, well, sorta, and then, you're the greatest, you're the friendliest person in the world. It's not a thing of score, it's a thing of, if you're failing at one of those tests, it overflows to the rest of your life. If you're loving the world, it's going to overflow to the other areas of your life. If you're hating someone, it's going to overflow to the other areas of your life. If you acknowledge God with your mouth and you deny Him with the rest of your being, then it's all going to overflow, and it's going to be evident that you're not a Christian. And it was so amazing. After that, I just confessed. It's like, God, I have never known I am a sinner until now. I mean, I've said it, you're a sinner, I'm a sinner, everybody's a sinner. But, it's never been so specific in my life. I've never had it this close to my face. It's always been a generality, we're all bad. But when it comes down to pointing out the specifics of your life, and when God is the one that does it, it's a whole different story. Amen. And I just prayed that night, and I was just like, God, I am at the end of my rope. I really don't know how to be better, because I can't be better. I don't know how to do any of this, and I can't. I don't have the power. I don't have the desire to do it. That was the hardest thing. It's like, God, I have no desire. And even if I go and do it and someone can see me and go, oh, that's really nice what she did. It's like, God, there's no desire in me. There's just nothing. It's like I'm dead. And that night, I just cried out before the Lord, and I said, God, save me. I've never seen myself as a sinner like I'm seeing myself now. It's like, oh, yeah, sure, I want to go to heaven. But it was never about that. It was all about God. And it's amazing how He's taken 12 years of allowing me to be part of the ministry and everything else, and all of a sudden opening my eyes and showing me who I really was. And I just praise Him and thank Him for that, and just wanted to share that with all of you.